Hey guys, and welcome to Ozzie Reviews, and welcome to this month's Q&A, where you guys who help me out on Patreon get to ask me a whole heap of questions that I address in this monthly series. So if you want to be a part of this, guys, if you want me to personally reply to your actual questions and recommendations, then you can. All you need to do is jump onto Patreon, and from as little as just $1 a month, I can give you that personal advice. So let's jump into this month's questions. So the first question I've got here is from Rianne Eden, and she asks if I have any recommendations for a junior rifle in 22 LR, especially for a smaller than average shooter. Okay, I can think of three off the top of my head. One would be the Ruger American rimfire compact model. Obviously the length of pull is a lot shorter on that, a little bit shorter barrel, so it's going to be a little bit more lightweight over a standard 22. The next would be the Henry Youth. Now I only just released this review. It's a lever action 22, really smooth action, quite nice, not terribly accurate, but it's enough to teach a youngster sight alignment and just the principles of firearm safety. And the third one is the Savage Rascal. Okay, I don't know if you've seen that, but it's only a single shot bolt action, so if you want a junior shooter just to be loading that single round at a time just until they get the principles of firearm safety, sight alignment and so forth, that's one to have a look at as well. It's extremely lightweight, very compact and ideal for junior shooters. Now the next question I've got here is from Daniel Appleby, and he asks any recommendations on a starting caliber for long range bench shooting from 200 out to 1,000 yards. Now his concern is, he says, I'm probably going to burn through ammo, so I'd like to keep the ammo cost down. I currently only have a Ruger American 22 LR. Well, Dan, honestly, 6.5 Creedmoor is out for you, even though it's a fantastic long range caliber. It's $3 a shot plus, so that's completely out. What I would recommend is blatantly obvious to me is 308 Winchester. You can't go past the 308 for budget long range shooting. They still compete with 308 in all the 1,000-yard competitions, F class and so forth. A fantastic caliber, and the ammo is reasonably priced. Okay, so I've got two questions here now from Jacob Major. The first one is, what pest animals do you find is the cause of most of the problems on your property, and what control methods other than shooting do you utilise? Okay, wild dogs are the biggest problem on the property. We've always got them. We do get wild pigs coming through as well, but wild dogs are the real problem because obviously they kill the livestock. So big problem. Now shooting is the only method I use. The reason why I don't use other methods like 1080 baiting is because, number one, look, I am a dog lover. A lot of people are surprised to hear that, but I don't like watching dogs die a slow, painful death through 1080 poisoning. Also, second to that is usually when a dog takes a 1080 bait is they get very thirsty. So what they do is they immediately head for a water supply. Sometimes they don't get that far, they die before they get that far, but other times they'll go to your water supply and then they'll die in your water supply. So in other words, you've got a contaminated 1080 carcass in your dam that you use to allow cattle to drink from. So big problem there. So I don't use any of those methods. It's not suitable on my property. The only way I find very direct and to have a good impact and also be humane is via shooting. Now the second part of your question, or your second question I should say, is also, do I have any recommendations on field butchery kits and if they're worth using? Mate, to be honest, I don't really. I'm not massively into it. One of my very good friends is a butcher, so he does a lot of the work for me, which is fantastic. I know that he uses, a couple of different types of knives and stuff like that, but I mean, most of those sort of guys have their own hoists and stuff like that. So look, mate, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that one. The best thing that I would suggest though is, go along to one of the SSAA shot expos and have a look at some of the field kits there, and they even do live demos and stuff like that. Talk to those guys. They've got a heap more experience with actual butchering than what I do. Now Ian Craig says here, what's the best thing you can buy for your missus to try to counter the tide of crankiness in buying another rifle? Well, mate, most people would be surprised. I really don't get that sort of pain from my other half, so I guess I'm lucky. Now, what I would probably suggest doing is, you should be talking about how content you are when you're shooting, and you don't want to go out spending money with the boys and all that sort of thing. I mean, you can be out playing up and all sorts of things, but you don't. You're content. You just enjoy your shooting. Best thing to do is make sure that you give your other half the time, take them out, go for a trip to the seaside or something, buy some fish and chips, and just spend some one-on-one time. That's the best advice I can give you. The next question is from Edward Gayton, and he says, Ozzie, what's the worst firearm you have shot or bought? Well, mate, unfortunately, and I know there's a lot of people out there will hate me to say this, but the Remington 700 Police Tactical in 308 that I had, it was an absolute lemon. What I found was that it would shoot like 2 shots, and then it would throw the third, throw the fourth, then shoot, seem to group again. It was just a massive problem. I just was so frustrated with it. I didn't get anywhere here in Australia with warranty on it because I endured the pain of it for too long. So it was over that 12-month warranty and that, so I just got rid of it. Now, Brent Brooking asked me here, any updates on your Seiko M10 review coming out yet? As he's very interested to hear my views on it because he's looking at purchasing one himself, and obviously it's a lot of money. Mate, I sent another message to the marketing manager there today just to get an update with what's going on, when's it going to be available, but I haven't got a reply as yet. Look, I'm still pushing for it. I've been told that it's coming, but I don't have an ETA as yet. As soon as I do, it'll be released on Patreon. You guys will know first. Now, John Economidis says here, hi Ozzie, what knife sharpening system do you use that has served you for both off and on field use? Also, what knives have you found to be the best value for money in terms of lifespan and keeping the best edge the longest? Okay, mate, you'll probably be surprised. The first part of your question there, I just use whatever. I've got a new knife sharpener from Walther. That seems to work real well. I had a little pocket knife sharpener as well. Look, any of them really that are, that have the ceramic, sharpener as well. I mean, there's so many different ones out there, but I just like to keep it simple, mate. I really don't spend any more than sort of $10, $20 on them, and I've had no problems with it. As for actual knives, now I'm not sure which knife you're referring to as in what use, but one of my all-time favourites, and this was one of my early reviews, and that is the Black Hawk Hornet 2 knife. Now, this little thing has been everywhere with me. I just love it. Like, I mean, it's not too big, so it doesn't get in the way. It's just got nice thumb stud to open it up with there. You've got the serrated bottom edge there, and then just a straight blade. I just find this thing great. It's been fishing with me. It hasn't rusted. I just have it on me around the farm. I just love it. And I mean, it's a fairly cheap knife, and I just love it. I've honestly looked at so many other knives, but what I keep carrying all the time is this little knife. So the Black Hawk Hornet 2 would get my vote. It stays very sharp. I've sharpened it only a couple of times in a matter of like 3-4 years I've had it now. And it just holds the edge really nice. So, take a look at one. Or have a look at the review. Just do a search and you'll see it's one of my very, very early reviews. Now, next question is from Brad, and he asks, do you think you'll ever do any reviews on air rifles, mainly PCP type? I'm interested in seeing how the FX brand performs. Cheers, Ozzie. Mate, I've only ever done one, and that was a couple of the Walther air rifles very, very early on when I started the channel. And look, I'll admit, I'm not an air gunner by any means. I mean, I'm certainly not a target air gunner. My experience with, air rifles was, when I was younger, when I was a kid going around cleaning up the cane toes with them. that's about it for me. So look, I wouldn't put it off the cards. I mean, if a company approached me and said, would you like to have a look at these air rifles? Sure, I'd be very open to it, but I don't have any plans as such to look at it, only because the demand for everything else from pistols to rifles is just so much at the moment. So if there's more demand for it, sure, I'll have a look at it. So the next question here is from Thor Jensen, and he says, "Hi Ozzie, I'm in the market for my first rifle and I can't decide on a calibre. I tried out your recommendation of a 44 mag in my most recent hunting trip, and I found that the cartridge lacks at further ranges. I was only able to drop a pig at 120 metres. I've been thinking of the idea of possibly building up a Sporter 303, or maybe even getting a Bakel side-by-side 4570. Ammo prices aren't the biggest issue, as I usually don't come across many big mobs of pigs, and rarely do I go through more than 5 to 10 shots in one day. I'm a big fan of the double rifles, so I'm leaning more towards the Bakel. Do you have any other recommendations for a first-time pigging rifle?" Well, mate, I can honestly say, if that's what you really want, you go for it, because at the end of the day, it's not what I'm happy with, it's not what your mates are happy with, it's what you're happy with. Good work on dropping the pig at 120 metres as well. I find most of the pigs that I'm shooting are between that sort of 75 to 125 yards, so about that 120 metres. So and I've used 44 magnums for that, no problem at all. But yeah, if you want to start stretching out, you start going out to like 200 and stuff like that, you want something that's going to hit pretty hard. Now, a lot of people will refer you to the 30-30, a good lever action 30-30, or even one of the Remington pumps, like in 308, will definitely do the job. Great for pigs. But honestly, mate, if you really want that Bakel, go for it. If you want to do up a Sporter 303, yes, definitely go for it. I know ammo isn't a huge thing to you, like the cost of it and stuff, but I would honestly lean more towards 308 than what I would 303 if it was being used, directly for pig shooting, because 308 you can get ammo cheaper and there's just so much more variety and availability of it. So that would be my recommendation there. But honestly, I can't see, you're going wrong with 4570. Look, it's going to do the job. That cartridge hits with so much energy, it's ridiculous. So, short range I'm talking about, like up to 200 you can use it. It's not going to have the flat trajectory of like a 308 or something like that. So just keep that in mind. But if that's something you want, definitely go for it. But my recommendation would be looking at a 308 personally if you want something for pigs. Now, the last question is from Anthony, and he says, "I know you're a big fan of the Lithgow rifles, having done reviews on the 22LR, the 22 mag, the 243 and the 308. He asked, what are my thoughts on the 223? Any chance of a review, or are you all Lithgowed out? Keep up the great work, mate. Cheers." Well, you mean this one? So that's my 223. So I actually just put, I'll show you here, I've just put the scope on. So we've got the Schmidt & Bender Summit 2.5 to 10 by 40 rifle scope. So I've got that on, and I'm probably going to be having a bit of fun just sighting it in tomorrow and just seeing how it performs. So yes, mate, I've done a lot of Lithgow rifles, but I absolutely love them. I know a few of you guys who actually have messaged me on Facebook, who have bought the 223 or were in the same position as you, Anthony, asking about it, and I've said, look, just buy it. I cannot see it not performing, because every other caliber that I've reviewed of their rifles has simply just shot so well. And you can see it on the video. It's just fantastic. Factory ammo. It's all shooting under an inch, in most cases hovering around that half an inch there at 100. It's just fantastic. So that's why I highly recommend them, because I feel that they're very, very well priced. And for what you get a lot of quality for the price. And on top of it, hey, they're Australian made. What more could you want? Okay guys, so that wraps up this month's Q&A. So thank you very much to those of you who did submit questions. Once again, guys, if you want to be a part of this, I get a lot of emails. I'm still getting them every single day, and I'm so sorry, I just simply cannot reply to all the emails that I'm getting. If you do want to become a part of this and you actually really want my advice and you value it, please guys, just throw me $1 a month on Patreon. That's all you've got to do, and I will help you personally with your selection of firearms and give you advice from my own experience of using those products in the field. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the Q&A series. So till next month, we'll catch you then.